What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hello and welcome. I finally have my hands on my Roxa palette from Natasha Denona, and I am so excited about this. If you're new here, purple is one of my absolute favorite colors, and she's giving us a purple palette for the holidays. Now, I know she has done some other purple palettes in the past. I don't have any of those. I will pop up pictures in just a little bit so you can see side-by-side comparisons in case you have them in your collection and you want to know if this fits in and if there's a place for it. But personally, I don't see any color overlap. And funny side story real quick before I show you this palette, I was actually toying with the idea of picking up the retro palette. I was on the Ulta website. I had it in my cart and I had a couple of things to do. I think the laundry went off or something like that. So I went and checked it. I came back, got distracted per usual, got on Instagram, and she revealed this color story. And it was almost like it was meant to be, because now I don't feel like I need that palette, which that one's more berry leaning anyway. And I like the tones in this palette. I still want the Love palette, and I'm kind of toying with the idea of the Lila palette just because I've always wanted that palette. I've heard the quality's not as great, but to me it's beautiful, and it's the one palette from Natasha Denona that I've never gotten my hands on. But let's get back on track because I'm getting distracted. So this is the Roxa palette. It does retail for $69. As of now, it's available pretty much everywhere. I know it's at Ulta, Sephora, and her website. I'll link as many places down below as I can, but I think the packaging on this one is beautiful. It's very similar to the one from the Golden palette, but it's not quite as reflective, but you can see it's very fingerprinty. But the color story in this one is so incredibly beautiful. Look at that. A very well done, almost monochromatic purple palette. We've got warm tones, we've got cool tones. I love the little combination of these sort of like cranberry shades over here on this side. This shimmer right here I think is beautiful. These look very reflective. I cannot wait to dig into this palette and play with it and create a couple of looks. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. Now, like I said, I will have this palette linked and listed down below in the description box, as well as everything else that I use in today's video. So per usual, if you're ever curious about anything I use in any of my videos here, always check the description box. I squeeze as much information as I possibly can into that tiny little space. But let's go ahead and zoom in, prime my eyes, and start creating our looks. Alright, y'all, so we are zoomed in. My eyes are primed with my MAC paint pot in the shade Painterly per usual. And let's go ahead and start creating our two looks with this palette. So I think for the first look, I want to play with some of these cooler tones over here. And then maybe for the second one, we'll pop into these more warm tones over here. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this shade right here, this really pretty lavender shade called Velour. I'm going to pick that one up with my BK Beauty 202 brush. And I'm going to start out by kind of fluffing this into my crease. Now with Natasha Denona, I definitely feel like I can just start fluffing. I don't feel like I need to pack the shade on. I love how she's got a pretty good high impact as far as pigmentation goes right off the bat, and I just like to fluff this in, give me a little bit of depth, a little bit of definition, and start to build off this shade. Now Natasha Denona has one of my favorite formulas. I do really enjoy it. I love the brand, and not just her eyeshadows. She's got quite a few products that I do really enjoy. There's still a lot that I haven't tried, but I've really been enjoying her eyeshadow palettes more than anything as of late. Alright, I think that looks really pretty. I like the way that it went on. It looks a little more warm tone on my skin because I am very cool undertoned. So some of the more cool undertone purples kind of pull off a little bit more warm on my skin tone, but that went on absolutely beautiful. Okay, next I want to go into this shade up here, this really pretty like grape purple shade. This one is called Jacaranda. Ooh, I've never heard of that word before, but we're going to go ahead and pick that shade up with a Singe Beauty EO3, and I'm going to start to put this in my outer corner. So I'm just going to start by pressing it and building up the pigmentation that I want, and then once I kind of have that shade down, I'm going to start to kind of fluff and blend out here in the outer corner. Now, this one is definitely looking more on the cool tone side, especially up next to that first shade that I put down. So maybe this is going to be a combination of cool and warm tone purples, but I'm not mad about it. I just love purple altogether. I think it's a very flattering shade on me. I like the way it looks. It makes my eyes pop. It's just a favorite. In my eyes, purple is a very neutral eyeshadow. I want to bring that shade down onto the outer portion of my lower lash line, just kind of lining it up with what I have going on the lid and meeting it up right here in the outer corner. All right, so I'm going back with that first shade that I used really quick called Velour. I picked up just the tiniest bit on my brush that I used to apply it with, and I'm just very lightly going over the edges of that last shade that I put down, just because I feel like I lost a little bit of it when I put that shade down, and I want to kind of reiterate it and blend everything out. I'm also going to carry that shade over on the rest of my lower lash line as well. So basically just kind of repeating everything that I have going on up on my lid and in my crease down onto my lower lash line. All right, so now we're gonna go into this really dark purple shade right here. This one is called Eclipse. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick that up with a Morphe M506 brush, and I'm gonna start to pack this on my outer corner, just right out here, giving me a little bit of depth. I don't wanna take it too far over or get really carried away with this shade. I just wanna have that little bit of darkness right here. And I am gonna bring it down onto the very outer portion of my lower lash line as well, just kind of wrapping it around this outer corner. All right, let's go ahead and dive into these shimmers and put a couple of them on the lid. So right now I'm kind of toying with the idea of these two right here. I haven't swatched this palette out yet. I usually don't when I create my looks. I do them later, but I want to swatch these two shades out and see how different they are, because this purple shade in here is very similar to this one right here, but I'm intrigued with what the silver is going to do to it. So that shade is called Bold. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick it up with my finger like that, and then I'm gonna pick up the other one, which is called Concord. Okay, so we've got a very like true purple shimmer, which is Concord, and the one that has that silver swirl is like a really pretty lavender shimmer. Those are absolutely beautiful. So I'm kind of thinking maybe this one all over the lid and maybe this one on the inner corner. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with that shade Concord, and I'm going to pick that up with somewhere I have a clean BK Beauty 202 or 203 brush. I just have to find it. Nope, hold on. All right, I found it. It was right in front of my face. So with my BK Beauty 203 brush, I'm gonna pick up that shade Concord. I am going to spray my brush with my MAC Fix Plus, and we're gonna press this all over my lid. I'm gonna bring it over and bump it up to the outer corner, and then we're gonna bring it all the way over to the inner corner, but we're not gonna bring it in the inner corner. And once I have that shade pressed on the lid, I can go back and start to kind of blend and soften those edges so that it blends into everything else. And that's what I have been enjoying about applying a shimmer with a brush, is that I can get a much softer edge than I can applying it with a finger. Now, sometimes you're gonna get more impact whenever you apply a shimmer with a finger, especially with Natasha Denona. I feel like her shimmers have more impact, but this still looks absolutely beautiful on the lid. Oh, I love it. For the inner corner, I picked up that swirly shade called Bolt on my Singe Beauty E01. I'm going to spray it with some MAC Fix Plus, and we're going to pop it right here on the inner corner. And I'm going to kind of blend it down onto the lower lash line, blend it up onto the lid, just so I can make sure that everything flows very nicely from inner corner to outer corner. All right, y'all, so this is the first completed look with this palette, and I think it's beautiful. I absolutely love the tones in here so far. Performance-wise, everything was exactly what I expected and have come to know and love from Natasha Denona. I didn't have any issues as far as pigmentation, building them up, blending them out, no patching, no skipping, no fallout, and the two shimmers I use I think are absolutely beautiful. I will say I'm not the biggest fan of the one that I put on the inner corner. No fault to the shimmer itself, I just don't like it in my inner corner. It looks a little bruisey compared to what I normally go for. So I probably should have done something different in there, but it is still a beautiful shimmer. But let's go over what I used to finish off this look so we can start creating our second look with this palette. So in my lower waterline, I went in with the Victoria Beckham Satin Kajal Liner in the shade Fig. I lined my lid with my ZC Liquid Liner and finished everything off with my Huda Beauty One Coat Wow Mascara, which I'm thinking is about on its last leg. So we're probably gonna have to get rid of that one very soon. But let's go back into this palette and start doing our second look. So I want to play with the shades more over here. I'm kind of liking this little quad that we have going on in this lower corner. So I think I want to go ahead and start with, we're going to go in with this shade right here. It's almost like a warm tone pinky brown shade, like a clay color. This one is called Heather. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that shade up with my Morphe M504 brush. And I'm going to start by kind of fluffing this in to my crease. So I'm gonna bring it over towards my inner corner, but avoiding my inner corner. I'm gonna fluff it out here in my outer corner and just kind of blend it into the crease, bringing it up towards my brow bone. Same thing I usually do. If you're new here, this is how I like to start off most of my looks. If you've been here, you already know the deal. I'm going to bring that shade down onto my lower lash line as well, just kind of wrapping everything around. I'm going to do something very similar that I did with the first look, just different shades. Next, I want to go into this shade down here. This one is called Orchid, so I'm going to go ahead and pick that up with a BK Beauty 206 brush, and I'm going to start to build up my outer corner. So I'm just going to start pressing it out here just like I did in the first look, kind of building up the shape, that little bit of depth out here. I'm going to bring it into my crease, kind of wing it out a little bit out here, and then just kind of soften that edge. And of course I'm going to bring that down onto the outer portion of my lower lash line as well, just lining it up with what I have going on my crease. I'm going back in with that first shade, Heather, same brush, and I'm just very lightly going along the edges, again, just like I did in the first look, to kind of soften everything up, blend it out, make sure that we have a nice seamless flow from one shade to another. All right, so what I want to do next is I want to go into this lighter shade up here. This one is called Phoebe, and I'm going to pick that up with a BK Beauty 211 brush, and I want to take this up like on my brow bone, kind of toning down a little bit of that first shade that I put down. I feel like it kind of got away from me just a little bit, so I'm just picking it up with that brush, and I'm just very lightly kind of fluffing it along the edge and just making sure that we have a more soft, seamless blend up here. Yeah, I like the way that's looking. Fun fact, I actually had a dog named Phoebe. She was a little miniature dachshund, and I actually got her, she was born in 2006, and I got her back before like my oldest son was even a thing, and he grew up with her. We had her until 2020 when she passed away, and that was like his heart dog. He loved that dog so much. She was so incredibly sweet, and I just saw the shade name and I thought that was so cute. It really brought back a lot of memories, but yeah, I like what that did. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. So next we're gonna go into this deep cranberry shade right here. This one is called Cerise, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but I'm going to go ahead and pick that shade up with a Sigma E45 brush, and we're going to kind of press this into my outer corner, building up a little bit more depth. I want to see how dark this shade can go. It looks like it's going to be pretty dark in the pan, not as dark as the shade that I used over here on this eye, but darker than what I have going on my lid. Yeah, that's really pretty. I'm loving these more cranberry shades in here. I think it's a nice addition to the rest of the color story. All right, so for all over the lid, I think I want to do a combination of these two shimmer shades right here. So I'm going to start with this one all over the lid. This one is called Brink. I'm going to do a quick little swatch of it right here on the back of my hand. Oh, that is really pretty. I like that shade. It has a little bit of a flip to it almost. Now I am going to pick that one up with my finger and press it all over my lid. I want to see how it's going to perform going on with a finger. So I'm just going to press it. Oh my gosh, that is absolutely gorgeous. I'm gonna bring it over to the inner corner, bring it up to the crease, over to the matte shade, and just kind of blend everything together. See how you just get a little bit more of an impact when you apply her shimmers with the finger? This one still looks beautiful over here, but I just feel like this one has a little bit more sparkle and opacity to it. It could also be the formulation. I will keep y'all updated on that in a future palette ranking video. But for now, let's go into the inner corner. So for that one, we're gonna go into this really pretty sparkly pink shade up here, which is called Flutter. It's like a pink purple shade. Let's do a swatch. Oh my gosh, this feels so incredibly smooth. Like, look at that. That is absolutely gorgeous with all those sparkles in there. Okay, we're gonna pick that one up with my Singe Beauty EO1 brush. I am going to spray it, and like I said, we're gonna pop this in the inner corner, and we're gonna blend it up onto the lid, down to the lower lash line. Just make sure that everything is nice and cohesive, no harsh lines, nice and blended. That is gorgeous. Alright y'all, so that is going to complete our second look at this palette, and I think this one is just as beautiful as the first look. You got your warm tones, you got your cool tones, they both turned out absolutely beautiful, and again, performance wise, I didn't have any issues with any of the shades that I used to create this look, and I think both of those shimmers look absolutely beautiful on the lid. But let's go over what I used to finish off this look so we can turn the lights down and we can see that shimmer and that sparkle, and then we can close out this video with my first initial impression thoughts. So in my lower waterline, I went in with another Victoria Beckham Satin Kajal liner. This one is in the shade Bordeaux. I lined my lid again with my ZC liquid liner, and for mascara, I went in with my City Beauty Beyond mascara. Alright y'all, so let's chat about this palette so we can close out this video. Based off of first impression, I really love this palette. I think it's beautiful. I love both of the looks that I created. I didn't experience any issues quality wise. This is the good Natasha Denona formula that I know and love. And the packaging I think is absolutely beautiful as well. It has that really pretty sort of purple chrome effect to it with that wavy packaging. Same that she gave us with the golden palette. I loved the packaging on that one, so I'm so happy to see that she brought it back for this palette. But the color story in here I think is beautiful. I love the variety in here. I love the mix of the cool tones and the warm tones. The mattes go from light to dark. We've got some mid-tones in here, and I like that she gave us depth with both the warm tones and the cool tones. The depth isn't just one-sided on the spectrum. The shimmers in here are beautiful as well. I feel like we have a good variety. I love that she gave us like these pops of pinks and silvers to go with the purples and the berries in here. I think they're very complementary. Now, as far as the formula goes in here, I didn't experience any issues. Like I said, it's the good Natasha Denona formula that I know and love. The mattes were nice and pigmented. They blended out beautifully. No patching, skipping, fallout, anything like that. And they built up beautifully on top of one another. The shimmers in here are beautiful as well, at least the ones that I got to. Obviously, I haven't gotten to every single shade in this palette in general. This is based off of what I've already played with. I will update y'all in a future palette ranking video with my actual final thoughts. But the shimmers that I used were very smooth, very sparkly. They went on really nicely. They didn't emphasize texture. I didn't get any fallout. They don't feel heavy or gritty on the lid. And I think this is such a beautiful palette. I think it's a great release from the brand because let me say, I was really worried about Natasha Denona. She had been giving us neutral palettes all year long, and I was so afraid that she was going down that same repetitive, redundant path that Pat McGrath has been going down lately. So when she brought us a colorful palette, I was so excited because I think the last colorful palette that she brought us was the Yucca palette, and that one was like a year and a half ago, and even that one I still think personally is more of a neutral palette because it's green and brown, and green and brown is very neutral in my book. We do have some pops of yellows in that one, but I'm so excited that she brought us a colorful palette. It gives me hope for what else she's going to bring us in the future. I'm hoping for more color, but this is beautiful. I love it. I'm so excited to have it and keep playing with it, and I'm so happy that I have a purple palette from Natasha Denona. But that is going to complete this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. I want to know, did you pick up this palette? If you have any of the other kind of purple leaning palettes from the brand, which look was your favorite? I want to know it all. Let's have that conversation. Light up that comment section. And as usual, I want to thank you all so much for watching my video and spending your time with me. It truly does mean so much to me. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so that you can be notified of all my future posts here on my channel. I do post quite a few videos every single week, and I wouldn't want you to miss one. But until my next video, have a good one.